Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
Is that Parker James?
Parker James. All right, Parker, thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and do the intro over again. Thank you very much, Parker James, for letting us know. But welcome to episode 88 of the Dirt Life Show. Thank you guys very much for letting us know that the audio was having issues. I had prefaced it a little bit a little while ago. We're down in Mexico, and we're going to have some super good week this week. But please be patient with us because we have a couple issues that we're going to be fighting, internet connection speed, that kind of stuff. But welcome to episode 88 of the Dirt Life Show. We are really stoked to have you guys with us tonight, joining us down in Baja, Ensenada, California. It's going to be a really cool show tonight. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, racing. We got our featured, well, first of all, I'm Georgie Hamill, your host of the Dirt Life Show. We got our featured guest sitting next to me, David Clay. David is the owner-operator of a company called Racing Trax. They do all the live racing tracking of different organizations, and basically so you can keep an eye on your guys' favorite driver and know where they're at. And he also has a really cool project coming up that is near and dear to my heart because I love RS1 so much, but it's we're going to let him talk about it a little bit, but it's basically like an RS1 Iron Man kind of thing. So welcome, David Clay, to the show, dude.
Right, and man, we're in Mexico right now.
Yep.
I'm so super stoked to be here for the Baja 500.
Fired up, right?
Holy cow, yeah. So couldn't be better.
Hey, one thing I'm kind of pissed about, though, is the whole KMC team ditched me and already went to El Trolero or whatever it's called.
Dude, and those are the best tacos. Like we have a custom that as we're coming into Ensenada, we stop and we eat there. Like you just have to. It's you don't, if they bring back tacos, George, do not accept them. We will go get tacos fresh,
afterwards,
right off the stick. Yeah,
dude, I don't know, man. I'll accept any tacos, but I like your style, dude. Come and go get them right there, fresh.
Right.
But yeah, thank you guys very much for joining us. We have a ton of cool stuff to talk about. We got a couple of David's buddies that are going to call in today. One of them, you may know. Dave Cole from KOH.
Right, yeah, Dave Cole got on board. It was really funny. He actually, before KOH...
Well, Dave operates at Ultra 4 Racing, right?
He does.
Yeah.
King of the Hammers, all of that. So, freaking everybody knows Dave Cole.
Yeah.
The productions that he
Super
puts
good
on
dude,
his races
too.
Are absolutely amazing. The thing is that blew my mind is he's so busy. I mean, he's putting on races over in Europe. He's putting on races in, he just did one in San Felipe. He's going back east. He's all over the place. And here he is with like opportunities of driving trophy trucks or racing a Ford Raptor. He calls me and he's like, hey, I'm 50 years old. I've battled cancer. I've kicked its ass.
Yep.
And I want a challenge.
That's so sick.
And like this RS1, he's like, I have a buddy that has it, and I've already bought it. It's
Dude,
mine.
That's badass.
Yeah, right.
I can't wait to talk about this RS1 project, man. I
Yeah.
actually, the RS1 that we built last year, some of the people that are listening to the show might know this, but I raced it at the UTV World Championship.
Okay.
It was borrowed from Craig Scanlon out of his garage.
So is that the same one that Max said he just barely went into the
same
snow
exact
rally
one.
in?
It literally had
man.
different graphics on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he did great.
We built that thing up. The guys at Shock Therapy, Justin at Shock Therapy, took the lead on the whole project.
Right.
We built that thing up. James at IMG gave us doors. Ryan over at KMC gave us wheels and EFX tires for it. I mean, there was so many cool companies that jumped on board, and Max kind of carried over those same sponsors and stuff too, and just went down and kicked some serious ass down there.
Yeah.
So it was super cool to see. But I'm really interested in talking about this project with you. Let's tell everybody a little bit more about what the show is going to be about today. Like I said, we got Dave Cole calling in. We're going to talk about how he's amped to try get in on this RS1 project. We got JD Daniels is also going to call in. He's going to also be part of your project as well.
Correct. Yeah. So far, there's actually 7 of us. When I came out with this idea of Ironmanning the Baja 1000 in a single seat RS1,
so crazy.
I honestly thought that come November I was going to be the only guy at that
I think
start
you guys
line
are
taking the
fucking
green
nuts,
flag.
man.
Right. I'm like, this is a really bad idea. And I asked my wife, and she's like, we have insurance, right? Like life insurance. I'm like, yeah, baby, we're good. She's like, do it.
Oh,
so
man.
I don't know. That's by the way, shout out to my wife and my 4 kids.
Oh, always.
Cruz, Luke, Jace,
Always
and
shout out.
Kate. I miss you guys. But I'm having a great time here. I'm not going to lie. But,
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're all going to have a good time this week, man. So I'll set a little bit of the presence, whatever you call it, for everybody here. I'm going to shoot you guys over to a different camera angle. So you guys, if you're watching the live feed, you can see that down here in Mexico, we got a cool little house that we're staying at, thanks to the KMC guys. They got all their rigs lined up. A couple of those are race cars. A couple of them are pre-runners out there. The camera's kind of blown out because of the sun, but you can kind of get an idea of what's happening. Right beyond those gates is the access to the first street access to the taco shop, which I'm still pissed about. But we're just sitting in the kitchen, and we're having fun today. It's going to be, like I said, a really cool show. It's going to be a really cool week. So we hope that you guys follow along on social media with us all week at the Dirt Life Show. You can also follow David's journey for the race and for hanging out this weekend. And it's at David R. Clay, I think?
yeah, David R. Clay is my Instagram. I post there mostly.
Right.
Sometimes I'll post the same thing on Facebook, which is just David Clay.
Will you have any stuff on Racing Trax this week as well, or no?
So with Score, we're not the official trackers. We
Okay.
do Best in the Desert Legacy, and then just this last year we did tracking for KOH.
Man,
for
that's
King of the
awesome.
Hammers, and so yeah, we've been busy there. But in Score, we actually I rent a lot of my units because we have a unique program where we'll actually put one of our tractors on a race vehicle,
Got
and
it.
we'll also put one on each of the chase vehicles, and then we program it to where every 8 minutes a message comes out from the race vehicle to all the chase vehicles with its race mile and speed.
Oh, that's super cool.
Over Iridium satellite. And so every 8 minutes, you know exactly that your car's moving. You're not getting further and further down Highway 1 where your vehicle broke down and you could have been looking for access roads.
Right.
And so we do that. We just kind of got a little bit creative. We are now able to actually take the or monitor and view the public site of the Stella Score tracking site.
Right on.
We can take some of that data and we can forward it to your cell phone. So if you want to get
Dude.
cell phone updates, we can do that. We can also forward that to one of our trackers, and it's like $100 a tracker. So we
Dude,
try to
that
keep
is-
it very affordable. And so I ran a bunch of trackers down here. I'm running around dropping them off, and
That's so amazing, though, that they can have that type of access in the trucks and in any of the chase vehicles, because
Right.
it's like that wasn't available not too long
it's
ago.
so simple. It's just satellite texting. And so Chase 1 can send a message to Chase 2.
Right.
If the race car has a problem, they pull over. Every one of our units is emitting a Wi-Fi signal, and so you just connect onto it with your phone.
Yep.
You go to our messaging interface, which is like an email inbox.
Yep.
And then you hit send message, and you send
That's
it to Chase
so
1,
cool,
Chase
man.
2. And so everybody can message each other. You can also put in a 10-digit phone number, text your wife at home, hey, honey, how's it going? Or you can say, hey, honey, jump on the computer and tell us where this guy
Exactly.
is in our class.
Yep, and text us back this way.
Right, and so
Yep.
people use it for all of that, and so yeah, it's fun. So I get to come down here. It's not super stressful. I hit up a bunch of teams and drop off their trackers. A lot of times I'll just mail it out before a race. But it's just a ton of fun to be involved.
Do you also do the custom deliveries in your RS1 because you showed up to the show in your RS1, man?
Well,
that was super fun.
I didn't realize how far north you were. That's the problem. Is you text me, you drop that pin, you're like, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm like, okay, cool, and I pull it up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's an hour away. It's saying that you're literally, you told me to be here about 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Right.
It said my ETA was 4:50.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, this isn't good.
And that's just in a passenger car. Yeah.
Right, so I was going to just take my truck and drive up here. It's more comfortable and everything, but I'm like, oh, no, RS1. I jumped in the RS1, hauled up here, and I think I got here, 4:25?
Well, you were even saying that you went in some of the side lanes, and you were like,
Right.
"Hey, I'm going to cut in the traffic." And dude, that's so
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, we made it happen. I wasn't going to be late to being on the George Hamill show. No way.
I appreciate it, man. That's so funny though, because like living in California, I came from Arizona, but now I live in California, and you can't do any of that. So like, I just got saw you pull up, and I was like, "Yes, that's rad."
I wish I had better cell phone service down here. I so wanted to FaceTime you and just have, because I was looking at my map on my phone, because I'm literally navigating off of my phone. I'm not going to have a Lawrence in there. I'm not going to have an iPad. I just have my phone, so I can at least glance at it and make sure I'm still on course. But other than that, I'm driving what I can see. So anyway, the front of the camera or the phone is pointing, out front. So I could have just FaceTimed you. I just wanted you to see what I was seeing, like weaving in and out of traffic, letting you know that I was coming. But yeah.
I definitely want to get more into the project, because when we talk about how you guys are going to do it, it's pretty phenomenal that you guys are going to be able to do RS1s and Iron Man, that thing, man.
Right.
All right, so a couple of subjects that we're going to talk about today is the Baja 500 is this week, man. So we are all super amped about that. Low-key, tacos is pretty much the reason I came down. Right. The RS1 Iron Man project is on the roster for tonight's show, and pre-running in Baja. So I'm not too sure how we're going to do the pre-running. Maybe when the guys get back from tacos, and they better bring me some. We'll talk with Ryan Edwards or James Hill, maybe even David, and see if they want to tell us a little bit about the pre-running schedule that they have and different things like that, because I would think it would be really cool for all you guys in the audience to understand a little bit more on the things that go on behind the scenes of an event like this. There's a lot of preparation that these teams do. Even the guys that were building the cars that are outside, I'll give you another shot at those again. They stayed up till I think 3 in the morning getting that car in the middle there ready last night, and put a new motor in it, all kinds of different stuff. So kudos to all those guys at IMG Motorsports, James, David, John Pacheco, and all those guys.
It's never easy getting down here.
It's crazy, man.
It's so crazy.
I mean, even me doing all this media stuff, I didn't sleep last night because I was getting so much stuff ready too. And like the race teams, you guys, like everybody that's getting all prepped up. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. It'll be good to get their first-person perspective. But thank you guys for joining us and hanging out. You guys are our lifeblood. We really appreciate you guys listening to the show. Every Monday night we go live at 5 p.m., Facebook and YouTube, and sometimes if we have better internet connection than today, we'll go live on Instagram as well. So we really appreciate that. If you guys can't watch live on Monday nights, you can always check it out on our YouTube channel or in the archives. If you want to just listen to it in the audio version, which a lot of people do, you can always go on iTunes and check it out, and Spotify, all the different networks. We're on every single one of them, even Amazon. So Google Play, you can check it out on any of those networks. So we really appreciate it, man. If you guys have a chance, go like, subscribe, do all that junk that everybody does, because it really helps us out. So the more you guys can get interactive with us, comment in on our Facebook, comment in on our YouTube, and even just shoot us a DM, slide into our DMs, man. There's been so many people contacting us on Instagram at the Dirt Life Show, and just giving us shout outs. It's really, really cool, man. All the help and support that you guys provide makes us grow like you don't even know. So we really appreciate it. And then adversely, we want to thank our sponsors. They are the ones that help us pay the bills and get down here to Baja, so we really appreciate it. First and foremost, thank you to KMC Wheels for bringing us down here, Ryan Edwards and Ryan Guidus over at EFX Tires. They were kind enough to give us the opportunity to come down to Ensenada and hang out and give you guys this show here at this house. So thank you to them. If you can, go ahead and check out all the cool wheels that they have. You can see some of the wheels on the shot right there. They got some forged wheels on those race cars. Those are pretty badass. And you can also go to wheelmerch.com, get some of the cool stuff like this hoodie that I got here with some KMC swag and EFX swag over there. thank you to the guys at Shock Therapy. Hopefully we'll run into Justin and his team at Shock Therapy this week. Hang out, eat some tacos with them. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com and get any of their badass stuff, man. Ryan Edwards over here, he just got one of their steering racks for his Razor Turbo S. Those things are just killer, man. Thank you guys over at Zollinger Racing Products, another guy that's going to be part of...
Zollinger, right. He's actually going to be the one building Dave Cole's car and his car. He's going to build a car specific for this race.
Super cool.
And it's going to be cool. So with the RS1 Challenge, everyone's like, oh, so do we all need to run in the same class? Does it need to be the same vehicle? And I said, no, let's just not make this overcomplicated. So just Dave Cole and Travis and another guy, Anthony Yant, they're all building cars that are going to be stretched. They're going to be, widened. So they're running in Pro Open. We have a couple of other guys that will run in Pro NA. And then I'm personally just kind of taking the Pro Stock side.
Dude, the RS1s are so fun, though, man. They're crazy cool. And Travis actually helped with the RS1 that Max Eddy and I both drove.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he put some radius rods on there, tie rods, some billet spindles, and just...
Yeah, I was looking at his car at KOH. It's a beautiful car.
Dude, his car is sweet. Ours was just like a stock spec, like kind of like what yours is. It was just some of his bolt-on products. And I always say it, man. Those guys over at Zollinger, they do a fantastic job. We'll talk a little bit more about how he's going to do the race with you, but you can use the code DIRTLIFE, and man, their products are driven by the racing at ZollingerRacingProducts.com, and save on any of those bitchin' products, man. Like I say all the time on the show, those products are next level, man. They are.
I would say if anything, just follow them because it's a ton of fun to see all the new product that they're coming out with. I follow them on Instagram, and they're always posting pictures of just like new spindles or new this or new that and dude, it's just kind of cool to see.
Look at this guy over here, the great co-host. So at Zollinger Racing Products on Instagram, check them out. And then thank you guys over at Cryo Heat. Do you know those guys?
I don't.
Yeah, so Josh LaHaye over at Cryo Heat, he does a fantastic job. They have all kinds of cool stuff like Pro Mod transmissions for your Polaris Razor. They do all kinds of metal treatment and everything like that. So go over to cryoheat.com and check it out. And thank you guys very much, thank you to the guys at Solderweld very much. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com, and you can get one of their off-road repair kits. So if you have any issues and you need to bond some metal, like a tie rod or a rim or even a radiator, you can fix it on the trail or at a race, and you can still recover your race or repair your ride. So thank you to the guys at Solderweld for being a part of the show.
I'm going out pre-running with, we're going to go run the entire loop tomorrow. And Peter with All Terrain Concepts, the lighting company.
The whole loop tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm just going to do it nonstop.
Holy crap.
Because I'm trying to, I'm not racing it, and so I want to get an idea of just, how the RS1 feels and what it feels like to go through the night.
Yes, you may as well just kind of spec it out and just, test it.
Yeah, we're not going to kill ourselves. We're just going to run at a solid pace. And that's kind of the point, too. Let me go back to really, first of all, what I was saying. Peter with ATC has Solderweld, and he was like, yeah, man, I don't go anywhere without this. He's a big believer in that stuff. Dude, I didn't actually know much about it. He was telling me all about it. It seems really cool.
Dude, it's crazy.
Make repairs on the trail is sometimes very, very necessary.
Yeah, and he Lance over there at Solderweld, he's told me a bunch of times that people in trophy trucks or anything, they just sit on the race course because they have a broken piece of metal. But if they had the kit on board, all they need is map gas to activate it, and it's just you could weld it together real quick and then take off. And
I just barely did the Moore race with Dan Rieger in a Class 10.
Yeah,
it's the Jake Performance car. He just won Baja, Nevada in it.
Pretty good car then.
It's a great car. Yeah, it beat the crap out of me. It was my first time navigating in a Class 10. I've navigated in spec trucks and UTVs and 7SX. But I've never done the buggy.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I had the crap beat out of me. It was amazing. He was just floored. And Dan is an excellent driver. It was a ton of fun. We went 7 of 8 laps, and he just ripped off the front arm. It was just there was a rock in the middle.
Oh wow.
Is that JD?
That's JD.
All right. Anyway, we ripped off the whole front tire. We hit a rock that wasn't there when we had gone around all the other laps. And again, Peter with All Terrain Concepts was like, you should have had solder weld.
Yep.
I was showing him pictures of the car, and it was just a complete wreck.
Hey, so he's trying to get solder weld as a sponsor too.
I know, right? I should.
Okay, so I think we have JD Daniels on the line. What's up, JD? How are you, bud? Oh, hang on a sec, man.
Is that Bluetoothing in?
Yeah, let me put it back on Bluetooth. Hang on, JD. I think we got JD Daniels on the line. What's up, bud?
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
We're doing very well, man. So let me give you a proper introduction. So currently, actually, I don't know that this is a proper introduction, but currently I think you work with Sunoco Fields doing some NASCAR stuff, don't you?
That's right. Yeah, I'm a race rep for their Western Region NASCAR program.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us on this janky little show, dude, doing some off-road stuff. How do you have a connection with David Clay over here?
Well, it's kind of wild. I came down and ran the 17 Peninsula Run in a two-seat car, and we actually used David's equipment, Racing Trax.
Oh, wow.
And with our chase car and a race car. And when I saw he was putting this deal together, I recognized the name, recognized the brand, and I thought, you know what, that's something I think I want to get involved in. So
it's pretty cool.
give it a shot.
We just been kind of bantering back and forth a little bit here. I think we should probably try to give a little bit more of a proper understanding of what David's project is. So the way I understand it is you guys are going to be doing the Baja 1000 and in RS1s,
Right.
and which is a single-seat UTV that does not have a co-driver, and you guys are going to potentially or all try to Ironman it.
Right. That's the whole idea. You know, like I kind of made the mistake of turning off-road racing, which I love, and I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to be a part of it. I've always been a part of it. Since I was like 17 years old, I've joined other people's teams and I've raced and I've done all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started racing tracks, and then I kind of turned it into a job. And then the other, like last year I was driving and I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, man, I'm going to be 40 years old in like about a year. And I've never just had a car of my own. I've never just had a program of my own. I've always showed up on somebody else's team. I've navigated. Sometimes I get to drive a section. When something goes wrong, I'm like, all right, sorry, I'll see you guys later.
Well, before you get too far into that, there's a lot of people that actually in our audience that ask those types of questions. How do you get into off-road racing, or how do I get to drive a car or something? Well, the same thing that you did is how they would do it. They would either help out another team or help out the organization or kind of learn the basics and go through the process, and now you're able to do what you want to do and get in a car.
Right, yeah, and that was my whole idea is like, obviously to do a program correctly is insanely expensive.
Right.
Right, and so how do you make it just a little bit cheaper? So first of all, start with a platform that you get a lot of bang for your buck, and that's the Polaris RS1.
Right.
Right, like you can't...
Dude, plus they're so fun.
Oh, they're so much fun. Yeah, I've really enjoyed driving mine. And so just as a base platform, they're incredibly durable, just what they are. And like I said, I'm running in the pro stock class. I'm reinforcing some suspension components, and I'm running it. And it'll hold up. It'll do it. There's other people that run in pro NA, like the Wells, Caden Wells Risk Racing.
Yep.
You look at his suspension on his car, it's stock. He has a reinforcement kit. So I have that exact kit that I'm putting on the RS1.
Nice.
And so the whole idea with the Racing Trax RS1 Iron Man Challenge is get an RS1. And by the way, I've opened this up. Like, this is why there's 7 of us, is I said, hey, who wants to do this? Who wants to race and actually do it affordably? Because the whole idea is, even though we're racing against each other.
Let's take a step back. When did you start this? Because if there's 7 people, that's a pretty good amount already.
Right. So I think I announced it like December 30th or something like that. I said, I was going to announce this January 1st as a New Year's resolution, but I'm like, this isn't really a resolution. I don't really keep my resolutions, but like, I'm going to do this one. So this is just something that I'm going to do.
And I feel like some of these people that are pretty experienced and we'll call them heavy hitters at least, because they've been in the organizations or in the off-road world for a good amount of time, or at least know it pretty well. So that's got to feel pretty good that they're joining up.
Right. And I wouldn't suggest that anybody that like has no idea what they're doing down here says, oh, I have an RS1, I want to go race this race. Like, you have to know what you're doing. Like JD Daniels, he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Like 2017, he soloed the whole thing. Which, JD, you made it what, like 50 miles to the finish, and then your motor went?
Yeah, we made it to race mile 1082.
And you were in the car the entire time. How many navigators did you go through?
So what we did was, I put this car together after talk with my wife. I'd gotten away from the desert off-road thing for a number of years, got sidetracked with circle track racing. That's how I ended up doing what I'm doing with Sunoco. And in 16, I started doing a little bit of research, and I knew I wanted to get back because I had a failed attempt back in the 80s on an ATV free rider team.
Oh, right.
Anyhow, it just didn't go well. It was a disaster. So I decided, well, the 50th anniversary was in 17. 50th anniversary of the Baja 1000 was a Peninsula Run. It's like, this is what I want to do. So the plan I had put together, I brought all fuel crew members from my Sunoco deal. A lot of the guys didn't have a lot of experience in the desert, but they were willing to come give me a hand. So
that's cool.
I soloed the race with four different navigators. and each of them were going to take 2 stints. Well, after each one did 1 stint, the first 3 didn't want to get back in the car. They were over it.
They were spent, huh?
They were toast. So the fourth guy, real good guy, he stayed in with me from race mile like 420 all the way to 1082 before we came to a stop. So
that's crazy. And for some of our listeners, just to give you a little bit more detail on what these guys are talking about, they're talking about Ironmanning the Baja 1000, which means that they were able to drive that whole distance, which usually is anywhere between trophy truck speed is pretty fast, but 25 and 36 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be, if we can average 30 miles an hour, which
Right.
is actually pretty good, believe it or not.
Right.
It's going to take us 40 hours to finish. If we can average 40 miles an hour, it'll take us 30 hours.
Right.
But really, to average 40 miles an hour,
That's hauling the mail.
it really is. Like, you don't think that 40 miles an hour is that fast, but it is. There's times that even the trophy trucks are just crawling.
Yeah, because the terrain is so gnarly.
Right.
So imagine sitting, in a passenger car. It usually you want to take a break to stop and use the restroom or maybe stretch out a little bit when you're driving from, in Arizona, Phoenix to Flagstaff or Phoenix to Los Angeles or something. You want to stop 2 or 3 times, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so what JD is talking about and what you're talking about is Ironmanning, sitting in a race car through the desert for 1,000 miles all in one stint.
Right.
It's nuts, dude. Just to think about how gnarly that is for a physical human being to be able to accomplish is fantastic.
Yeah. Right.
So you got to give yourself credit for already having the cojones to do it.
We're gonna give it a shot.
JD's already basically done it. So it's pretty cool to just talk about this and then to give other people, JD, Dave, yourself, and to have this idea and give them the opportunity to do it in RS1. I don't think that there's a better platform to show how cool that those vehicles are.
Right, and again, that's the whole point is with this RS1 challenge, is that I'm telling all these guys that are experienced, most of them already have RS1s or they've raced in the past something else, and they're going to get an RS1. But so even though like technically we're kind of like racing against each other, it's like you said, it's you against. Like, can you keep yourself together during that amount of time? Can you keep your car together? At the end of the day, like, who cares who you're racing against? And so with this RS1 challenge, we're doing something unique where we're joining 7 teams together in one. We're all supporting each other. So typically, like, JD, when you did it, how many chase trucks did you bring? Like 3 or 4?
We had 2.
Oh, boy. That's not safe.
That's definitely skeleton crew right there. But 3 or 4 is still low, you know?
Right. There's
Exactly.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of teams out there with a lot of support, and it's necessary. You know,
Right.
especially when you're shooting all the way over to San Felipe, and then those guys that are over there, there's no way that they're going to make it back across, and everybody's leapfrogging, and at some point, like, these guys have got to sleep. Like, at least you have that adrenaline of racing and everything. But
Hey,
yeah.
JD, you might know one of our avid listeners, John Hupperts.
I do. John worked for me this weekend in Sonoma.
Yeah, John's a bad dude too, man. He's been a supporter of the show for a long time. So I think he was actually getting on a plane right now, and he was saying that he wanted to listen to you when you called in. So that's awesome that he just chimed in and said that JD is a badass driver.
He came down with us in 19 and helped us out. He was actually in his 4-seater running around Baja trying to chase for us. So it was fun.
Hey, you know what I got to say about John, though, is he's way more of a man because he likes that cold weather, dude. I can't do the cold weather like he does.
Yeah, I'll stay here in Baja. Thank you.
He's up there on the tundra, and I don't understand it.
Dude, I don't get it either. I got a sweater on down here in Baja, and it's like, what, 70 degrees, 65 degrees?
That's too funny. Yeah, he's a great guy. In fact, he's coming back down with me this year.
Oh, right on. So that'll be cool. Yeah. And then let's give a shout out to James Morgan, too. Thank you very much, James, for chiming in, letting us know that the audio wasn't working earlier. And he said that we should interview Corey Sappington. I think that's a fantastic idea. I've actually reached out to Corey a couple times. We've never been able to schedule it yet, but I think it would be cool to talk with Corey. Corey's a great UTV guy as well.
You know Corey's story? Do you know Corey's backstory a little bit?
I've only heard it not directly from the horse's mouth, but from other people.
Yeah, like basically, like he was the first one to run a UTV, and I think it was his dad. They had like a Rhino or something like that, and his dad was always like, "We should race this."
Like OG.
Yeah. Yeah. So like his brother Scott and Corey were like, "No, Dad, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy." Right. So Dad finally passes away. Dad dies, and so they're like, "Okay, in honor of our dad, we're gonna go do the Vegas Rhino." So they got it passed through with Casey Folks. Like, let's go ahead and race this Rhino. They make it like half through, and then the thing just
Was
stops.
it built up or was it like stock?
Nah, I don't know. Not really. This is like, I'm kind of going off of memory here. I could be getting it all wrong. Corey, I'm sorry if I'm getting it all wrong. Anyway, so it stops.
You remember when we drove the Rhinos? I remember you would see like a 3-inch ditch, and you'd like slam the brakes and then just barely crawl through it.
I don't know how they did it, but they did it. The vehicle stops. They're like, "Oh, I guess it's broken." So they packed it up. They took it home, and they're sitting there. And then like a neighbor came by, and he's like, "Oh, how'd you guys do?" And they're like, "I don't know. It stopped. We don't know what's broke." And he's like, "Well, you think it was a belt?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
They didn't even know
They
that
opened up
about.
the clutch cover. The belt was broke. The car was just fine. They had no idea. And so, I mean, yeah, it's come a long way since then, I would say.
Dude,
but yeah, Corey's a good guy. They rent trackers from us every single race. They do the racing track stuff.
He's definitely a good dude. JD John just commented back in and said, "I'm nuts for living in the tundra, but Baja is epic."
Yes.
Hey, so John, this is going to be my first actual trip down here to Baja for helping another team, not being a driver, and then second, for actually a Baja 500 or 1,000 or even a full-on desert race. The only time I've come down here with Motorsports in mind was for the Lucas Oil Short Course races when we raced professionally in 2017. So it's going to be a really, really fun week, and I think we're going to have a good time just hanging out with everybody. So, JD, what's the plan to get ready for the RS1 Iron Man Challenge?
Well, beyond building the car, when I went down in 17, I worked with a good friend of mine, a physician, on some sleep deprivation drills to know that I'd be able to go 30 plus hours. And it was epic, hilarious, some of the video that we took. He had me assembling pieces and parts at 4 o'clock in the morning after being up for 20 hours. And but I think that's an important part of it. Your body and your mind goes through.
Yeah, because you're basically delirious at that point, right?
Well, there are periods of that, yeah. And you can be really challenging for your crew members. I can assure you of that, because your mind and body says, "No, I'm not stopping," but because you're not thinking right. I know that sounds a little sketchy, but it is what it is, and so.
JD, I've never even asked you this, but how much harder do you think it's going to be just being by yourself? Like, how much does that help having a navigator in your ear, kind of talking you through it? Like,
put the mouthpiece a little closer. Is that a personality
what are we hitting
thing?
For here?
You know how some people have that introverted personality where they don't like somebody talking to them all the time or like loud music to distract them? Like, is there any advantages to that?
I think there could be.
Well, my hands in the air on the not necessarily want someone distracting, because there were a couple of times I'm like, "Would you just stop? Just let me drive?" A couple times, but it's hard to answer your question, David, because I have not been put in that position yet. So I really don't know.
That's going to be interesting to see. I would like to maybe see if we could get JD and yourself on after the Baja 1000. And when is it actually? It's in November, right?
It's in November, yeah.
Do you remember what week it is in November or what the dates are?
I think it's the second week in November.
Right, like we're coming down on the 15th. We're all like, and same thing, like we're all renting a house. We're all pitching in, and so like it's a big giant house, and it's going to be a couple $100 a piece because there's so many of us pitching in on
the real world RS1 edition.
It's awesome, right? Yeah, so everybody's gonna hang out, and we're gonna make our big strategies and plans and who's going where. Racing Trax is actually sponsoring it.
Hey JD, so do it like Cribs, like when they did the real world release and they get the new people to go in there. You got to open it up first and go get your bedroom and pick the best one.
Everybody
right away.
Yeah, claims it, and there's gonna be pillow fights and all kinds of stuff like that.
What?
You didn't know, JD?
Oh man,
I know now.
Yeah,
I know now.
Come prepared.
You may not want to release the address too soon.
Right.
We actually were making fun of one of the guys with us because he actually brought a pillow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You want to know what though? Like, I've been coming to Mexico for years. Last night was the first time in my memory that I've ever had a bed.
Really?
I had a bed last night. I always bring a camp pad. I always bring a tent. I always bring a sleeping bag and a pillow. And I'm usually just crashing somewhere in the yard, somewhere in the front room, somewhere in the backyard. A lot of these houses are awesome because they have the roofs.
Yep.
So you go up there, you pitch your little tent up there. And that's just how Mexico is. Like, you don't come expecting to have a bed and expecting to, you come
expecting to have tacos and a good time.
Right. Tacos and a good time, and be very flexible. Plans are always going to change. So just be insanely flexible, be optimistic, be super stoked, because we're down in Mexico. We're doing the racing.
Yep, exactly.
And yeah, so anyway, the guy that brought the pillow on your team, I mean, it's a smart guy to me. I don't know.
Well, he's a smart guy, but we also had to make fun of him too. My crew chief used to travel with a pillow everywhere he went as well, so I'm used to it.
Did it have like a picture of his like mother on the pillowcase?
I used to call him
Was
Linus because Linus used to, for Charlie
Right,
Brown,
the
used to always
blanket.
bring around his blanket. But yeah, so anyways, JD, I think it's pretty cool that you're jumping on board. What was the reason that you wanted to jump on board with this project? Was it just the RS1 enticed you, or what was it?
No, so actually what it was is in 17, as I said, when we went down bid the first time, if the RS1 had been an option, that would have been my first choice. But because it wasn't, I had to go 2-seat. And again, it was the 50th anniversary. I figured it was going to be an epic event, and I wanted to be a part of that event. We didn't make it. So in 19 I thought, let's just go back, see if we can get this done with a car that I built myself, my two hands. Nobody touched it. I think I shared that with David. From the ground up.
Do you remember what vehicle it was?
Yeah, it's a I actually still have it. It's a 2015 XP1K.
Oh, right on. One of the OGs. Those cars are so good, though.
It's still sitting in my garage. But and then so we started talking, a couple guys and I, about maybe going back this year with that car. We made a bunch of improvements to it. And then David's deal popped up, like you said, there at the end of December. And I started talking to the guys that we're going to go with. And some things have happened and changed for them, and they're not going to be able to make it. And so it seems like for me, it seems like it's becoming the way I'm supposed to go do this and get this done. I feel like I got cheated in 17, which sounds really, really sad, but I need to get back down there and finish something I started. I mean, that's really the bottom line. The RS1 is the perfect platform to do it.
That's got to be a real gut wrencher when you do basically get all the way to the finish line and then all of a sudden you can't cross it. I can totally feel your pain on that. And getting the revenge on Baja will be a massive accomplishment for you, I think. We had another comment come in that's not related, but Jason Hess over from Liquid Molly says he wants to come down to Baja next year. I think it'd be good, man. You still have one more chance to come down this year if you want to come to the Baja 1000 in early November. I think that would be pretty cool to watch these guys duke it out in their RS1s. Do you guys have are you guys taking bets on the attrition rate out of the 7 people?
No, that's not it's kind of funny because originally
you guys are all going to talk shit to each other when you get to the house. You know that.
Oh, yeah, no, we're definitely going to do that.
I'm hoping to be able to get David's radio channel programmed into my radio so I can talk shit to him while we're doing it.
Dude, how fun would that be?
I would seriously enjoy that. And I've told people when I get really bored and tired, I'm just going to click over to the radio channel and say, hey, is anybody on this station? Oh, hey, so how's your guys' race going? So, how, who's your navigator? How'd you meet? Just talk to people. I'm just going to talk to people in the middle of the night.
But that might be the answer to the question you asked me about how's it going to be without having somebody in there with you. That won't necessarily always be the case.
Yeah, my buddy Rory with Side-by-Side Communications, or 5x5. I always see 5, I think it's an S, but 5x5 Communications. I'm like, hey, amp that radio signal up.
Yep.
I want to be able to talk to people.
Oh, that'd be funny. You'd make a phone call and talk to your wife.
Right. No, we probably could. We could route it through the helmet anytime that we go through some of these little Independencia and these little towns where cell phone service picks up.
How the kids doing this evening, sweetie? I'm delirious. I'm trying to race to the finish line.
Right.
Oh, man. I really do think that it's going to be fantastic. I'm rooting for everybody to be able to finish, but those races are really, no matter how you look at it, it's an accomplishment because there's such a race of attrition to be able to cross the finish line. I mean, look, JD was, you said, 50 miles away from the finish line, and he got
52.
Oh, fuck, man.
Who's counting?
Yeah, exactly. But then, he didn't cross the finish. You gotta want revenge, like what he's talking about.
Right. It's such a fine line of how am I going to run this? It's been funny preparing this vehicle because again, I've always shown up on other people's teams. I've raced, whatever happens, you know, like in 2017, I actually ran it in a spec truck. We blew the motor about race mile 1,000. I hitchhiked back up the course. My buddy was running with JT Holmes in a side-by-side in a UTV, jumped on their team, ended up taking it to race mile 1,050, then that motor blew.
Yep.
You know, and like in both times, it's just kind of like, oh man, sorry guys, that stinks that happened. And so, you know, like being the guy that's actually preparing the vehicle to put it together and to make it reliable, but to try to, you know, this is going to be kind of like a one and done race for me, I think. I don't think I'm going to be like doing all these different races, but
That's
I'm trying
what
to make it reliable.
everybody says.
I know, but like, you know, like I'm putting like, you know, the best, like Liquid Molly, actually, it's funny that you wrote in, but like Liquid Molly is awesome. I'm putting that, you know, stuff in there. I'm doing, you know, the Wells is gusset kit. I'm running ATC lights. I'm running MRT tires. Like, you know, Walker Evans is stepping up to like really kind of help out and get the car together. But it's just kind of finding that fine line of like, how do I get this thing to the finish line?
Exactly. And it's your way of doing things too. Hey, will you put your phone on silent real quick?
Yeah, was that me? Sorry.
That is what's so cool about it, though, is you're giving the opportunity to guys like JD, like Dave Cole, and maybe you can mention some of the other guys as well that are going to participate in it, but you're giving them the opportunity to enter it at free will, just to go finish the race, Ironman style.
Right. Jimmy Rodriguez was actually supposed to be sitting right here right now. He decided at the last minute that he's going to take his RS1 and he's going to race the 500 as well. So he was supposed to also pre-run with me.
What class is he going to race in here?
In NA, just pro.
Really?
Yeah, just pro NA. So he'll be running against the Wells. And is Kristen Matlock still in pro NA?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be running against all those guys. He actually just barely ran the Baja Nevada race in the RS1. Donald in Legacy wanted him just to run in the RS1 class, even though he wanted to run in the NA class. But he's like, you know, let's just see how you do. Well, he actually did really well. He ended up on corrected time taking the overall in his RS1.
That's
so the guy
crazy,
hauls the
dude.
mail. Like, he really does. He does really well. And so I think he kind of wanted to keep that roll going and come down here and see how he did in Baja. And that's going to really give him a good idea also of, like, running at a top speed down here in Mexico, because it's still so much different than the races in the States. A lot of those races in the States are just a lot smoother.
Yeah.
It's just not the chaos that Mexico is.
It's so much different. And then, well, let's let JD actually explain a little bit of this, because what was the vehicle that you said you were driving? The
two-seat Razor.
The two-seat Razor. How was the terrain in that two-seat Razor?
It was actually pretty nice, because we had Shock Therapy do our shocks for us.
Shout out Justin Shock Therapy. Woo!
Yeah. In fact, I need to get a hold of those guys, see if they can help me out, do some magic with this RS1.
Yeah, they actually have a really good setup. We were talking a little bit about it before you called into the show. They helped us out doing an RS1 build that we raced at the UTV World Championship, and that was a car that Craig Scanlon gave us out of his garage. And man, thank you very much for Craig to help us out with that. And we gave it back to Craig after we were done with it. Still had all the cool Shock Therapy Fox RC2 shocks on it, and Max Eddy borrowed it from Craig and almost won the Sonora Rally on it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just got some different stickers. Just got some different stickers and changed a couple clickers, and Max went out and
I actually messaged him before the Sonora Rally. I'm like, man, that's really impressive. How do you do that in a car navigating? And because like it's a completely navigating different. It's a different game. The whole road book. And he's like, it's not any harder than on a motorcycle. I'm like, yeah, good point.
Way less, yeah.
Right. At least you get to sit down. You got a cup holder. You can like look at the. But I mean, it still can't be easy figuring out where that next point is that you have to go to.
Well, for somebody like him that's experienced, I think it's a little bit easier for him to have that come out of his mouth. You know, like for one of us,
still takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So my question when I was asking JD about the vehicle that he raced was, to get Shock Therapy to help out is obviously going to help out a lot, but the RS1 is such a capable platform. Do you feel like it's going to give you better opportunity to go faster on that terrain?
I personally do. We went through. Everybody went through some areas that were pretty tight. Obviously, the RS1's a little narrower, but I mean, if you can get a trophy truck there, you can get a two-seat car through. But I feel like the visibility is better.
The balance is so much better. I mean,
exactly.
That'll be pretty interesting to see how it actually how it transpires at the end of the race. I really want to get an understanding of maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do a little wrap-up show after the Baja 1000, and we'll get everybody to start talking about how they did and how they felt at the race.
Yeah.
John,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
John Lewis commented in, and he was saying that it would be super hilarious to have audio of the random radio communications. Could you imagine? Maybe we could get some people to record it.
You know what I should do first is I should ask them what race mile they're at and make sure that I'm behind them.
Oh, so you can
I'm
talk shit while you're coming up?
Well, not just so they don't come up on me. I don't think they'll pull over to wait for me. But yeah, no, that would be great. I actually think I'm going to do that. Have long conversations with people just in the middle of the night when everybody's up for a good conversation. Because what else are you doing? You're just pounding whoops at that point and trying to stay awake. And
I do think that there's a little bit of. I know John's he operates a company called Desert Squadron that does trauma kits and things like that. He actually does a lot of safety, and I'm a big safety guy now.
John reached out to me to give me a trauma kit. He gave me his card. I lost it immediately, so that's why I haven't called you, John.
Hey, John, reach out on social media, David R. Clay, and hit him up on Instagram. Slide right in there to his DMs, buddy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think it would be really cool to actually have that communication, because I low-key think it's a little bit of a safety precaution when you can actually talk to somebody and make sure that you're not fully delirious driving the RS1 that far.
Right. Right. So I'll do that.
Hey, maybe we should get John to volunteer to start calling all the drivers.
That would be awesome. I wonder if Weatherman likes to have long conversations in the night. He's not busy at all, right?
Helping the whole organization. But I do think that there's a lot of seriousness behind this, and I think that organizing something like this takes a lot of effort for each individual person and their whole team to be able to accomplish that. So if you have, like, let's just say 7 people, usually that's going to amount to somewhere around, I would say, 40 people that are all in to be able to go do this. So when you have 7 people sign up for it, there's a lot of back work that goes into it. And I think that's really cool that JD's got a program, Travis Zollinger's got a program, Dave Cole's got a program, you have a program, and then the 3 other people you had mentioned that were going to do it. That's going to make it so that the next year, who knows? Maybe there'll be 14. Maybe there'll be 20. Who knows?
I don't think my wife's going to allow me to be in next year. we'll have to see.
That was one of the things. Was one of the things.
Is this your birth child, or are you going to let somebody else take the reins?
No, if somebody else wants to take the reins, that's fine. And who knows? I've already kind of had the conversation with my wife, like, man, I'm putting so much work into this car. It's kind of my baby, and I'm doing all these like little things to it just to make it kind of custom to me. I'm pretty proud of how it's coming together, and it is actually going to be pretty hard to sell. It'd be nice to do like one big race a year.
Yeah, but that is a big ask though too. What were you going to say, JD?
I was going to add that the collaborative nature of this concept that David has presented is really what drew me in. Because now understanding the challenges of doing it with a smaller crew, and as all you guys know that aren't part of big money teams, I mean, to get 10, 12, 15, 20 guys together and coordinate them, it's like herd and test. It's really, really hard to do. So the collaborative nature of this, where if you're bringing 3 or 4 guys for every car, you it takes a village, if you will. We've all heard that saying before, and that was really what drew me into this, was the collaborative nature of the things. It's like if this were to continue, this opens it up for so many people to get into this sport that may not be willing to try it yet.
Dude, 100%. And let me take a stab at this real quick. But before I do, No Respect Anthony Yant said, I love the RS1 at the Hammers. That would be actually a really cool car for the Hammers.
Anthony, actually, he's one of the guys that's doing this challenge with us.
Oh,
right?
Awesome.
And he was the very first one to actually take an RS1 and finish the entire King of the Hammers course.
Really?
Just all by himself. He never even got out of the car.
How the hell did he do that?
I don't know.
Just a badass driver or what?
Just a badass driver. He does the rock bouncing and stuff back east, and so he's like full throttle, give her hell. And I actually saw him at King of the Hammers that he was in an RS1, and I ran over to him, and I'm like, hey, I'm David Clay. I'm putting on a Baja 1000 Iron Man program. What do you think? He's like, man, that sounds awesome.
He's like, I'm in. Let's do it. That's pretty cool.
Right.
John Huppert's actually said this will get JD to the finish line. He wants to be there for that. Hell yeah, John. That's cool. So I was gonna kind of give a little backstory to what you're talking about as far as the racing effort, the logistics portion, the cost, and things like that to do a race like the Baja 500, or even more so the Baja 1000. If it's a peninsula run, it's even more. But when I raced professionally for Yamaha in 2017, I was given a task to be able to put together a budget and a plan to race a desert race, which was in that case the Baja 1000 that year. To go through and put together a budget and do everything, get the team together, and see what it would cost for us to do it. And I did the lowest level I could, skeleton crew, just like what JD had before. Building a car, I had to build one from scratch because we didn't have one. And lowest level I could come up with was just over $50,000 to be able to support the crew, the vehicle, and get myself what I thought was across the finish line.
Right.
And that's not even, in my case, that wasn't even a winning effort. That was just a completion effort.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking to myself, like, wow, I would love to be able to do this. I hope they say yes. I hope I can pull all the manpower together to be able to do it. But we were never able to accomplish it. We didn't have the financial backing from Yamaha once they saw the numbers. And then I was really scared of getting the logistics together with the people. And you're taking all that out of the equation except for getting a capable vehicle, because you don't have to have a badass race car. You can just run what you
right, and where you're Iron Manning it too, it's like you're not going for the win. I mean, Travis Ollinger, Dave Col- those guys, and even Anthony, they're going for the win. That's just kind of their mentality. But like for the most part, like I'm not going for the win. I'm going for the finish.
Yeah.
You're right. Like people run the Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like down in southern Utah, it's the swim and the run and the bike and all of that. How many of those guys think that they're going to win?
Fun fact, I completed an Ironman.
Did you really?
6th place, yeah.
Wow. I did a marathon once, and it was like the worst thing in my entire life.
After I did the Ironman, I said, fuck this, I'm never doing one again.
Right. And so like everybody seems to always have the mentality in off-road desert racing, like if you're going to be down here, you have to be going for the win. Everybody thinks that way for the most part. Everybody just kind of thinks that, like,
I think that's a competitive racing spirit.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that by all means. It just kind of seems to be like the general trend. Like I'm at racing, I do racing tracks. I see every single vehicle, and they're all just insanely beautiful. And every single one of them, like
some of these cars that are
win.
sitting outside this house right here.
Exactly, like just like those. And so, like for me, I'm like, guess what? I don't have to win this race. I have to finish, and so it's okay for me to back it down a little bit, be a little bit more conservative, and just get to the finish line, because that in and of itself, to do that by yourself, is going to be huge.
So JD is going to talk so much shit to you when he blows by you now.
Well, and it's funny because go ahead, JD.
No, I was just going to say, David and I have talked a number of times offline and about that side of it. It's like everybody wants to focus on prepping their car and building this great piece and being ready, but you really gotta spend the time prepping the driver. You gotta get your mind right. You gotta have reasonable expectations, and you've got to know when to push it and when to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be philosophical or anything, but you got to know when to go hard and when not to go hard. Because if you don't, you just go all out. You're looking for trouble.
So that's one big point that I missed in my example. I had 3 different drivers scheduled, myself along with 2 other people, and 3 different co-drivers.
Right.
You guys aren't going to have anybody else's help. It's just you guys.
So let me add to that, because you're exactly right. So and this is one of the things that I'm looking at with this RS1. It's like I think the single biggest thing that we've got to do, you got to keep this thing on 4 wheels.
Yep.
Because
just keep it moving.
Yeah, if it tips over, you ain't
moving. Well, you're going to have a hard time, exactly. You're going to have a little harder time than you would if you might have somebody with you and whatever. But I'm just saying that it's not just about the car. It's about that guy that's going to be driving that car, making sure he's right and, physically, but mentally and emotionally. You just got to know where you're at.
Is there stuff that you do, like when JD was talking about having the mental strength and the mental fortitude to be able to last that long? Is there stuff that you're doing too as well, David?
I've actually been kind of practicing with taking like 5-minute power naps when you're just really cloudy. I've kept myself up driving and things, where I need to get, even coming down here. I left about 11 o'clock from Utah and driving down as far as Johnson Valley to go to that Moore race. And I was just like really tired. It had been a really long day of getting everything ready and getting the car all loaded and all of that. And so there's been a couple of scenarios that I've been kind of just practicing the whole like pull over and seriously set an alarm for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sleep for 5 minutes and then go again. And it's amazing how well that's actually worked. Now, I don't know if I can do that strategy over and over and over again. It's probably going to also be a little bit of like slow release Adderall.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea. But if I have to pull over and sleep, I'm going to pull over and sleep. Like Dave Cole has a great strategy. He's literally going to be pulling in, getting out of the car, getting into a bed, going to sleep for 4 hours straight. Because he's like, I can be up until 1 o'clock in the morning. Who can't? Then I can also wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That's not, that's not bad. And during that time, like somebody's going to like go and rebuild his entire car. He's going to have a crew just go and swap everything. And I said, Dave, that is a great strategy. And while you're sleeping, I will pass you.
Dude, I think it's so cool that everybody has these different ways of looking at the outlook of the race.
Right.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
How do you do the logistical portion with the pits and stuff for all these different strategies?
So really, this is what we're going to do, and I think it's a really smart plan. So Mag 7 has really started to get into the RS1, or not the
What's
RS1.
Mag 7?
Mag 7 is a local pit support.
Got
a lot of times they really focused on motorcycles. They've been doing pit support. If you ran Toyo tires, I believe, you could qualify for Mag 7 pits. It's kind of like a Baja pits, right?
BF Goodrich kind of thing.
Kind of a thing like that, right? And so but they were really focused on dirt bikes and stuff like that. And anybody running the Toyo tires, Robbie Gordon, stuff like that he would pull into a Mag 7 pit. So right now they're really trying to open up and get into the market to support UTVs, where all of their pits, like every 75 miles, they're going to have 32-inch tires, they're going to have belts, they're going to have axles, they're going to just kind of have an assortment of UTV
specific
products, right? And then also they're carrying your gas. So like we're going to take 100 gallons of gas per vehicle is about what it's going to take in these RS1s. I don't want my guys in their chase trucks carrying barrels and barrels of fuel down the coast or not carrying that fuel, assuming that they can go and they can get that fuel down the road. I mean, how many times have you been down the coast or you pull into Independencia or something like that and they're out of fuel?
Right.
Guerrero Negro, they're out of fuel.
Yep.
So I don't want to do that. And so we're going to be teaming up with Mag 7. Our guys, because again, there's 7 of us, I'm going to do something probably along the lines of like, hey, 3 of you, if each of us brought 1 truck, are going to be at pit 1.
Got it.
2 will be at pit 2. 1 will be at pit 1, okay, type thing. And so then most of us come through, a couple of you guys can leave and start going. Racing Trax, like I said, we're going to be sponsoring this effort as far as tracking, racingtrax.com. If you want to, in November, you remember to log on and check it out. It's going to be pretty cool. But the thing is we actually, you know how I was telling you about the Race to Chase updates?
Yep.
Well, we're getting Race to Chase updates from 7 vehicles, which means that every 8 minutes you're getting in 7 messages. That's not good, right? So what we can actually do is we can group 7 people together in one message and send it out to all the chase vehicles. So every 8 minutes, the chase vehicles are going to be getting a message on their phone with the race mile and speed of all 7 of us.
That's awesome.
Right. And so they can coordinate on and knowing where everybody is. We're also going to have like what I'm calling eyes in the sky, somebody that's sitting back in America with great internet. They're going to be looking at the trackers on all of the race vehicles, and the locations of the chase vehicles are actually showing up online as well. We track chase vehicles, and so they can see where the assets are. We're going to have sheets where like, hey, chase 1 has these parts, chase 2 has these parts, chase 3 has these parts, and then our eyes in the sky. They can say, okay, most of you have come through. I want chase 2 and chase 3 to go ahead and head down to pit 5 now.
Right.
And then I need you guys to do this and you guys to do that. And so but going into this, we've all committed to, we're all going to La Paz.
Yep.
So if you break down 50 miles into the race, you're still going to La Paz because guess what? Your team is going to La Paz. And we're all a big giant team and everybody's on board with this.
I think it's so cool, man. And that's one of the things I think is so hard, is the logistical portion of it. We were actually talking about it on the way down with the guys, is skeleton crew, how do you do it? How do you execute? Like all that stuff. So
right.
I think it'll be pretty cool. Hey, JD, you got anything else that you wanted to mention? Because we're going to go to a commercial break in just a bit before we get Dave Cole on the line.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate you guys including me in the conversation. I've enjoyed the heck out of it, and I'm going to listen to what Dave's got to say.
Oh, hey, John also commented in, great show. He's off to the hot and humid tundra. That guy. John's got
Very
jokes
good.
tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah. He was something else. I was with him for a week, so he's a good dude.
Yeah, you guys are doing actually a good job with all the Sunoco stuff. I talked to John a little bit about it. And then, no respect, Anthony Yount, he commented in again, said the little RS1 in the desert was actually pretty smooth and amazing in the rocks. End of the day, 12th overall. Just a complete King of the Hammers is phenomenal.
Right.
That's outstanding.
So, we appreciate you giving us a buzz, dude, and letting us know what you think about the project. We look forward to seeing you down here in Baja for the 1000 doing the Iron Man.
Sweet. You guys have a great week down there.
Thanks, bud.
All right, cheers.
Thanks, JD.
Later.
You got to really appreciate when you have not only solid dudes, but enthusiastic dudes like JD that want to do and join this project with you, man. Like, that in itself has got to be pretty endearing.
It's been a ton of fun meeting these guys and talking to them, and we get on conference
Did
call.
you know all of them before, or you just kind of winged it?
None of them.
Wow, really?
Right. Yeah, like none of them.
That's phenomenal, man. I think it's so cool that they off-road brings so many people together. I mean, that's literally the reason that we started the Dirt Life, is because I grew up where there's no pavement. It was just all dirt, and we had a great time growing up, and it's just a whole different outlook on everything. And the camaraderie that you guys are showing each other is fantastic.
Right.
Man, so cool. All right, well, we're going to go to commercial break right now.
And by the way, the doors aren't closed on this. So, I mean, what is it? It's June. I built my entire car. It's ready to race. I probably could have raced this race. And then, and this is by myself, just literally wrenching on it. The Travis Wells Risk Racing, they helped me, build the roll cage. But other than that, I've done everything. So if you started right now, go find an RS1 for $13,000 or $10,000. You could literally have this thing ready by November. Shoot me a text, give me a call. We can have 10 people in our group. We can have 12 people in our group. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Let's make this big. Let's blow it up.
That is actually a good thing that we should talk about. So if any of you guys listening to the podcast or watching it are interested in it, you should definitely slide into David's DMs. It's David R. Clay on Instagram, and express some interest in it, man. Those RS1 vehicles are so badass, and he's doing phenomenal, keeping everybody, all the logistics sorted out and everything. Hey, Ben Protas Sr. commented, happy birthday. Is it your birthday today?
No, not my birthday.
Not my birthday either.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, dude. Happy birthday to whoever it is. But yeah, so we're going to go to commercial break real quick. We're going to talk a little bit more about Racing Trax, the RS1 project, Iron Man project, and we're going to have Dave Cole online. We will be right back.
You ready to test these tires out? I was born ready. Let it rip.
Shock Therapy, the premier UTV suspension tuning company. We test daily with the leading manufacturers in the industry to perfect our shock tunes and race-proven components for all UTVs. Whether it's high-speed racing or slower trails, we have a suspension tune that is perfect for your driving style. Visit shocktherapist.com to improve your ride today.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action.
Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Yeah, finally we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, and then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Welcome back to episode 88 of the Dirt Life Show with David Clay from Racing Trax and his Iron Man RS1 project that he's got going on down in for the Baja 1000. So we're going to kind of just keep talking about this RS1 project because it's so cool, but we're going to kind of dip into some of the stuff that's happening this week down here in the Baja 500 as well. So what did you come down for? Just to kind of pre-run and check things out?
Yeah, I'm going to pre-run in the RS1. I'm going to run the entire thing in just one shot, see what I learned, see how I feel. Like, what does 500 miles feel? Am I absolutely trashed after this?
Yeah.
Am I feeling all right?
How your body feels?
Right. And then I'm joining up with Seth Quintero and Mitch Guthrie Jr. in the OT3 Red Bull Dakar team, just being on their team.
Really?
I helped them out at the Baja 500 last year when it was Blade Hildebrand. And I got invited back. John Tondro, who's an excellent fabricator, he does a lot of their logistics, and so I'm really good friends with John, so he brought me on last year, and then I was invited back this year to help out, and it's really cool working with those guys. Like, talk about a whole nother level.
Well, and plus you get the experience. You get to see all those things. You get to see execution, and you get to see how everything works.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. And like I said before when we were talking about people always asking us how to get into off-road and how to get their feet wet to start racing. Well, you do what David's doing, and you go down and you can check out some of these different teams. Some of these professional teams just need help, man. You can reach out to them and see if they're willing to help, and you guys can basically just get your feet wet like what you're doing, man.
Yeah, just show up. That's the biggest thing, is showing up. It's amazing how many people talk about showing up, but then just don't show up.
Yeah, they never do. The execution is the biggest thing that people lack, right?
Right.
So I think we got Dave Cole on the line. What's up, Dave? Hang on one second, man. I got to put you on the Bluetooth audio real quick. So Dave Cole is, most notably Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, runs that operation, and now he's going to be able to join you in your RS1 Iron Man project, huh, David?
Yeah, I still think, I keep telling him, like, sure you want to do this? Because I even think it's a bad idea. And he's like, I'm going to kill this thing.
So welcome, Dave Cole. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you guys?
We're doing good, man. We're just hanging out down here in Baja, enjoying the nice, cool weather. And I'm about to go enjoy some tacos in a little bit here. Where you at?
I'm in Moab, hanging out with my girlfriend and getting ready to head up to Montana for a race we have this week coming up in Montana.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yep.
Where's that in Montana?
Broadview. It's a 50-mile loop, kind of like desert racing, but desert mountains, and do 200 miles up there. It's going to be a good race racing with the Yosemite off-road racing guys.
That's super cool. The Montana terrain is insane cool up there.
I was telling you that this guy's all over the place. He doesn't do just King of the Hammers. He's all over the place. He could be doing anything, and he's running an RS1.
one of those guys that have you ever heard of Adrian Cheney? You know who he is?
Yeah, absolutely.
The
He
wild man.
did the flip, the barrel roll in the canal.
So for all of us off-road racers, and when you said Dave Cole's all over the place, could be doing anything, we interviewed Adrian Cheney, and he was telling us that he did surfing from a helicopter in the sky on a snowboard in the clouds.
What?
Talk about doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, how nuts is that?
Yeah, that's the reason why they call him Wild Man.
Hey, Dave, let's do that next, right? Let's do cloud surfing. That sounds great.
Pass.
Hey, yeah, I think I'm with Dave. I think I'm with Dave Cole. I'm going to probably pass on it too, because Adrian said that whatever the city is below you, like if it's a trashy city like Los Angeles, the clouds taste like trash.
Really?
Yeah, he said it's better to do it above a nice city.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Like, that conversation could take us down a whole nother path, but I think it's really cool that, Dave, that you're actually out there doing it. You're giving people an opportunity to race all of these different events that you provide, but then adversely, that you're going to actually get behind the seat and of an RS1 and do this Iron Man challenge with David, at the Baja 1000.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm I've been fortunate to race a lot in a lot of different places, but I've never Ironmanned it, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be a pretty amazing experience.
Well, we were just talking to J.D. Daniels a little bit about what his plan was. Do you have kind of like a game plan or a strategy that you're going to go by? You had mentioned something, David.
Yeah, I'll let Dave say it.
Yeah, so I've raced a bunch, and I can do 16 hours in the car. I'm positive of it. But I know I can't do 32. I think it was about 32 hours to do 1,300 miles just based on my planning. And I also don't think a car can do 32 hours. So I've got some friends in Vizcaíno. You pretty much have to go through Vizcaíno to run a peninsula run. So I figure that's going to be about halfway. When I get halfway, I'm going to park the car, have my guys rebuild it, take the cars off, change everything on it that I can legally change, sleep for 4 hours, wake up and get a new car and drive there 16 hours.
Do you think that's going to change your pace? You think you'll be able to go a little bit faster and push the car harder?
I think if I don't sit at Vizcaíno and fix the car for 4 hours, I'm going to sit in the middle of no place for 4 hours and have a far less of a car and be far more exhausted.
So that's a really interesting strategy.
I think no matter what, you're going to have breakdown time. So if I can do some durability testing and figure out what pace I need to hold to get the car to run 16 hours straight, run whatever that pace is, get to Vizcaíno, and then do basically scheduled maintenance, and then I have a new car again, and then run another 16-hour pace.
It's a good idea. I mean, it really is a good idea.
When you're hearing it out of the horse's mouth, it really is a fantastic idea.
I mean, I believe Dave, do we have 50 hours to finish this thing?
I'm sure we're going to have at least 50 hours. They're going to do 25 miles an hour average is what they usually do for the 1,000. And I'm here 1,300 miles. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot.
And you more have the strategy like me where you just really want to finish this thing. I mean, I was talking to Travis Zollinger, and he's like, I want to win. Right.
I want to win.
Okay.
I was fortunate to win the 1,000 in a 7F class, which is pretty brutal.
Right.
I want to win. I'm not going to a race not to win. I think this is my best shot at winning.
Right.
I think if I just try to drive straight, that the amount of fatigue that I'll experience will put me in a position where I put more than 4 hours of downtime on the car and on my body. So I might as well plan the 4 hours and make the most of it.
You know, the smart thing about and I'm sorry for George for taking over. The smart thing is your plan is even if the people that have multiple drivers, you know that those drivers that are getting out of the car, they're not going anywhere and sleeping for 4 hours straight and getting refreshed. And so the guy that's getting into the car is already tired because he's been up since the start of the race. The guy that's getting out, he's going to be all like wired and going to the next pit, trying to chase down the road, trying to get to the next point where he's going to get back in, and you're going to be tired. And so to actually like be able to go and completely shut off and take that 4 hours, it's actually a really good strategy.
Well, you got to remember too, like you've heard the phrase. Everybody's heard the phrase under-promise, over-deliver, right?
Right.
That's exactly what he's doing too, because he doesn't have to sleep for 4 hours. He could wake up at 3 hours and 30 minutes, be ready to go, like your 5-minute nap kind of deal.
Right.
And if the car's ready, he can get in and go.
Yeah, I'll have them. And if the car takes 5 hours to fix because I broke something bigger, or that would, then I'll just sleep an extra hour. Regardless, I wouldn't need the time. If I come in there and the car's hurt, then I'm not going to continue down the road anyway with the car hurt.
It makes total sense.
And I can imagine you're going to be getting into a completely perfectly clean driving suit, right? Probably a new helmet.
You think
new driving suit,
pristine.
new helmet. Like you're just like, it's a brand new day.
I will have a second driver. Have you ever gotten into? I mean, have you ever gotten in a driver's seat that you just got out of 5 hours earlier after being in the car for 16 hours?
It's so crusty and
not
nasty.
a good feeling.
Right, that makes sense. I've never done. I've like crustified and like grossed up some driving suits by all means, but I've never gotten back in one. So good point.
That's awesome. that Dave's going to get that opportunity to change.
and it's for me, this is a year-round thing because I was already thinking about doing this when then King of the Hammers, we kind of confirmed I was going to do it. And between the stress of starting King of the Hammers this year and then the opportunity to do this, I've lost 63 pounds since January.
Oh, you're down to racing weight, buddy.
I'll be able to wear any fire suit I want to wear because they're all going to fit.
Dave,
Nice.
is that just straight stress because you're just working so hard and just going like crazy? Or are you actually exercising and going to the gym and what are you doing to lose that amount of weight? Like that's really impressive.
Just right now, mostly it's just changing my eating habits.
Yep.
I literally, when I was 335 pounds in January and that's, pretty fat. I'm 6'4", 335 pounds. And now I'm 278-ish, 277, something like that. And it's just, I started kind of working out, just kind of being more active. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. Jason Shears races with my son and he's a CrossFit guy because, just ask him, he'll tell you. But he's promised to come down and help me to do the durability testing, getting the car ready. But I have to do his workout plan, so we'll see how that goes.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
A little bit of incentive right there. Hey, Dave, one of the things that I wanted to tell you just as a side note was I really appreciate you helping out Lee Perfect over there and all the guys for Great American Short Course. I think it's fantastic that all the mod kart kids and all of those racers have a place to go now.
I think it's awesome too, man. When we had the opportunity and they asked me if I'd be involved, but originally it was just going to be production, and we ended up just kind of doing the whole thing with Lee. So from my view from the very beginning, it was like, okay, we're going to get all these Pro 4 guys back. I'm like, don't even bother. We can get Pro 4 guys back, or we can focus on making the kids that are just coming up now, making them happy and making them feel comfortable, because that's going to be our future anyway. And so I feel really strongly that's the direction we need to be going.
I love that you said that, man, because we had so many conversations, even on the show, behind the scenes, that the kids were going to be displaced, man, and we just really wanted a place for the kids, and now they have it. So that's pretty awesome that you were able to give that to them.
Right on. Well,
so we already kind of understand your strategy. First of all, I think it's a fantastic strategy. Let's kind of acquiesce a little bit. When you first heard about the project from David, did you think like, dude, I'm in, or were you a little skeptical?
No, I pretty much dove all the way in. I saw it. I thought it was cool. And then talking to David's, David's kind of a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Contagious personality. You talk to,
high energy,
especially about this. And you're like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm in. And then once you're in, you can't get out because he's calling you like every 4 days saying, hey, how's this? And hey, what's that?
He's on the text thread.
Yeah, exactly.
But granted, I did ask you, Dave. I'm like, are you sure you want to be on this text thread? Because like I'm starting a text thread, and we're all gonna.
Yeah. No, I'm in. Yeah, I love it, man. There's nothing I like more than just being in the dirt. So this is an opportunity for me to go out and just have fun and do the cool things. So.
That's something that I've always wanted to do. Like I've navigated in a lot of cars for a really long time. I've gotten a few opportunities to drive, and it's only usually 150, 200 miles just to give the owner of the car a chance to get out and take a break. And I'm never done. I'm always just like, I just wish that I could go further.
Could go more.
I wish I could just go so long and far until I just want to absolutely just punch myself in the face because like I just want to get out of the car so bad. Hey, and I think I'm going to get that here. I think I'm going to achieve that.
You're absolutely going to get that 110%. So, Dave, when you've been an operator of racing organizations and stuff for a while now, when you heard that he was going to be able to do this, what was the first thing that you thought of? Because first thing that I thought of was you're fucking nuts. But then I started thinking, well, this could actually be something that opens doors for people logistically to be able to go out and accomplish some of the things that they're dreaming of.
Yeah. My first thought was like just this is cool. I went in, but then I started thinking about, like, I'm looking forward to getting like my old support guys to come down to Mexico. There's a bunch that just don't have a lot of experience in Baja.
Got it.
And we're gonna need a lot of pits, and it's not just for me; it's for everybody racing RS1. So, like, I'm looking forward to kind of making an Ultra 4 version of kind of like a Baja pits kind of deal where we've got guys set up and they're helping everybody out, but those guys are getting to know Baja in a better way. So I just think it's cool. I mean, every time you take somebody someplace new, give them new experiences, I think it's a cool thing. And this, I get to check off like an absolute top of the bucket list, as well as get a bunch of new people down in Baja.
You're going to get a lot of guys addicted to this place for sure.
It is super cool, man. I think it's going to be fantastic for you to participate in it, and maybe we'll all get to eat some tacos together over RS1 talk.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So let me ask you one other question then. So what kind of RS1 are you going to be building compared to, we'll call it a stock spec that David has here?
So I'm actually going to drive a twin of Travis Zollinger's car. So I'll be in the unlimited class. It'll be stretched in.
Yeah, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown? Because some of the people that are in our audience may not know Travis Zollinger's car.
Sure. Yeah. So Travis builds cars. This company is ZRP. He currently races. It's like, I think it's about a foot longer stretch. It's a full tube chassis.
Yep.
So it's not. I'm not running turbo. We'll stay normally aspirated. Run all the basic stock parts that way. Put an HCR kit. We'll widen it, and then it's about a foot longer wheelbase as well. So it's going to be definitely a much more plush ride than running in stock like Dave's trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I guess there's goods and bads about it, right? Like you could ask David, and he'll tell you a little bit different about what he thinks is better. But if anybody wants to go check that out, Zollinger Racing Products is a partner of the show, Dave. So we really appreciate you giving a shout out to those guys. You can check out at Zollinger Racing Products on Instagram, and you can go and check out some of the racing videos that they have. And Travis does have his RS1 on there. How comparable is it to another vehicle, like let's just say a 4-seat Razor, as far as the track width goes, the length and the wheelbase?
It should be about the same length as a stock 4-seat Razor is.
Okay.
I believe it should be about the right length, and it's the same HCR wide arm kit, so they're all the same width.
Got it.
I only drove, so I bought this car stock, and I only drove it. I've only driven it probably maybe 15 miles, mostly in the rocks. But the center seating position is pretty cool. And I mean, I'm 6'4". I've never been in any race car I've ever had that is more roomy and more comfortable. So I'm looking forward to being actually in a comfortable seating position for once. And I've been in some big cars, but I've never been that comfortable in a car. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, that is super cool. I'm going to switch to the camera view because it looks like these guys just got back from eating tacos. They're coming into the house now. So I'm looking forward to getting some of those bad boys in my belly. Well, Dave, one of the other things that I was going to try to ask was, when you get down here and you understand the logistics behind everything that David Clay is doing, what are the is there any pit strategy that goes along behind that? You have 7 other people that are going to be kind of using the same strategy and same pit stops and stuff. Do you do anything different to maybe be able to do it better than those guys?
Well, aside from the rebuilding of the car, I absolutely intend on getting some IVs. I think you have to take care of the car, but you have to take care of your body in this race more than anything else, and more than normally. I mean, I've never really physically trained to go racing before, and still found some success and had a good time, but I never had to worry about, I wasn't ever that too concerned about it. You know what I mean? And I think that keeping yourself physically fit and physically capable to keep going through the race is going to be the challenge we're all going to face.
I really do think that that's going to be a massive challenge too. I mean, even when I did the actual Iron Man, the triathlon, it was 6 hours, but it was very, very hard for me to keep my wits about me during that 6-hour period. And you're talking more like 40 hours.
Right.
Yep.
That's just phenomenal to me to think of. I'm probably going to lose sleep tonight just thinking about that.
I know it's like 5 months. It's 5 months away. Like it's coming quick.
So I intend on doing a 500-mile durability test out of my ranch in Johnson Valley and just see because the car's got to do about 600 miles in a stretch, and I've got to do 600 miles in a stretch. So we're going to find out what breaks. I mean,
yeah, there's no other way to do it except for just get out there and do it, right?
Yep.
That's going to be pretty cool. Are you going to keep all that stuff a secret, or are you going to let people know how you're doing?
I'll tell everybody. I don't. To me, the fun part of this is the camaraderie you're going through anyway. I'm not.
Yeah. The camaraderie.
I'm
and
not a secret keeper guy that way. We're going to go race, and if we're faster, we're going to win. If we're not, you're going to beat us.
That's bitching.
Even Travis Zollinger was texting us pictures of different spots on his frame on his car where he was seeing that where it was braking and saying, "Hey guys, this is a potential weak spot."
Yeah,
look at that.
Let's fix your guys' cars too.
Right, and so everybody's been really cool about that.
And I didn't mean it as a secret, like from the other racers, like you're gonna try to outdo them. I meant it more like, are you gonna be able to share it on social media with some of us? Because me personally, I would be very interested to see how Dave does out there in Johnson Valley for those tests.
Right, and even the build. I mean, where is Travis on the build? Do you know, Dave?
I think very early. I mean, he's got steel.
Well, that's good.
He drew it on a napkin already.
You need to insist. I know you don't do a lot of the social media stuff, but you need to insist that Travis is posting regularly about the build on this thing, because I mean, I would like to see it. I think other people would as well.
Oh my gosh, I would 100% like to see that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't do any social media at all. Like none. So, not even for my own personal life. So, but I will make sure there's pictures up, or you guys do another show here in October or something, and we'll do a pre-race show or something, and we'll talk about it again.
There you go. That's a great idea, man. Well, is there anything else that you want to say to all these other guys that are going to join you, the other 6 people that because we had just talked about with JD a little bit, making fun that what David was going to call some of the other drivers on the same channel on the radio.
Yeah, my strategy is when I get tired, I'm just going to chat with people. I'm going to just keep switching channels and saying, "Hey, is anybody here who wants to talk?" And just ask a bunch of questions and have these guys yelling at me, "Please practice radio."
Well, Dave, I hate to break it to you, David. I'm not going to be listening to you. A, I'm going to be too far away to hear your radio.
Oh, here we go.
and B, I'll be on my MSAT, because that's the way I'm going to do comms. I'm not going to do it over radio anyway.
If you just give me your MSAT channel, that would be great.
Oh man,
I love logistics, so it's all going to be about comms and plan and teamwork, but that goes for all the other guys racing. Anything anybody needs, we've been fortunate to start conversations with Polaris about supporting the whole group, not just me. And so my intention is to have a bunch of spares across the board and be able to give everybody the layout, saying, okay, here's my 10 pits, and at all the even number pits, there's axles or shocks or whatever, and that way if you guys need something, they're out there, and I want everybody to get to the finish line. So
yeah, that'll be pretty cool. And speaking of getting to the finish line, these guys have already finished their tacos like jerks. They didn't bring me any right now, but we're gonna have our buddy David Caren, who's gonna be the co-driver for James Hill. He's gonna run the Baja 500. We're gonna have him come sit in here in the makeshift studio that we have in the kitchen of our Baja house here. So
sounds great. You guys have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, bud. We really appreciate it, Dave. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to have an awesome time watching and following up with everything that you got going, bud.